And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Matthew 27:46. This was the passage that made me cry back last year when I read it on one of those apps that you get a daily quote on. And I've said before, it's interesting that the Aramaic and all Hebrew versions evoked an emotional response that the English version hadn't evoked. And it's one of those reasons why I'm particularly fascinated by translations, because is it translation of the word, the sound, the cultural connotation, or all of the above that actually is the meaning behind the text? Matthew 27:46, and also Psalm 22. Psalm 22 also mentions later mother's milk and being brought out of the womb. So Eloi or Eli, as in the name Elijah, the root El meaning God, and the first letter Ayin, which may come from I, which was something like IR. And I think Sabachthani is from the root of something like shibak, which means to leave, to quit. But interestingly, when I clicked on the root of that word, it came up with something that sounded like sobek. I realised in Hebrew that would have a different meaning, but the sound, and coming back to this idea of translation, Sobek was a creator god from Egypt who emerged from the dark water and created the Nile. And his mother may have been Neith. So is this a reference to calling out for Sobek or even the mother of Sobek whilst on the cross? Who knows? I do like making spurious connections. This looks like a flying person from the back. I've discussed that before, in that we can't see the face of the god. So at the bottom, it's almost like a pyramid structure, but it's actually also like a creature of some kind, all golden. It's got a little lilac head there, just on the left-hand side, with its hair tied back. So there's this figure here, also like in a golden kind of cloak, next to which is like a ball, which reminds me a little bit of the yin-yang, but it's sort of in golden light, maybe even a swan inside or something, and then lilac on the other side instead of black and white. So there's a figure in lilac at the top of this little thread. It looks like a female figure with long hair looking across at this other figure in the other strand that I just showed. And then there's something golden beneath, but I can't quite work out what that is. So at the top, the head is kind of turned to the side, but because it's so black, you can't see. So is that referring to nighttime, and is that Neith? Looks like it's carrying something in her right hand, a basket maybe. And there's a couple of different squiggle symbols on the back, but I don't know what that is. Looks a bit like grain in this sort of left wing or whatever it is, feather, and kind of like the shadow of a person in peach top left. I'm sure there's more to unpack. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe.